This episode is brought to you by eBay. On eBay, behind every car and part is a story waiting to be shared. I read about this guy who bought a nearly scrapped 2020 Porsche Cayman. He rebuilt the whole thing, all with parts he found on eBay. And now, that Cayman is out tearing up the track. From Toyota to Aston Martins, eBay has thousands of cars and the largest online selection of vehicle parts and accessories. eBay. Things people love.
This episode is brought to you by White Claw Surge. Great podcast pick, friend. No surprises there. After all, you're all about finding the tastiest flavors out there, just like White Claw Surge. And with big, bold flavors to enjoy, like blood orange, blackberry, cranberry, and more, it's time to go all in on taste. Unleash the flavor. Unleash White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. 8% alcohol by volume. White Claw Seltzer Works. Chicago, Illinois.
Well, hey there, folks, and welcome to the Japan Ghost Stories podcast. My name's Kevin O'Shea, the host of Supernatural Japan, and this is a bonus Patreon exclusive episode that I want to share with all of you out there listening. I want to let you guys know about our Patreon. It's something I would love for you guys to come over and support the show and help us grow. If you come on over to the Supernatural Japan Patreon, we've got 3 tiers: the Obake, the Daruma, and the Awesome Oni. And if you join the Patreon, there are a lot of amazing things that you can get, like ad-free episodes and early access to Supernatural Japan. Also, you'll have access to the exclusive Patreon-only blog, as well as exclusive access to the Japan Ghost Stories podcast, which you will hear an episode of right now. And there is the Spicy Wasabi podcast and a lot of great video content that you can only find on Patreon. So please check it out over at patreon.com/justjapanpodcast97, or of course in the show notes or over on the podcast website. So right now I want you to enjoy an episode all about the Legend of the Inunaki Village. Oh, this one's a spooky one, folks. Beyond the tunnel, the night they found Inunaki. Welcome back to Japan Ghost Stories. Tonight's story is inspired by one of Japan's most chilling modern legends. The story of the so-called lawless village hidden deep in the mountainside outside of Fukuoka. Some say it's only a rumor. Others say the tunnel is still there. And a few claim they drove through it. Settle in, turn down the lights, and let's begin. Haruto trusted his navigation app more than he trusted his own instincts. Reina knew about her boyfriend. The most of the time, this was harmless. The worst that usually happened was an awkward U-turn or a slightly longer drive. But on that cold autumn night, somewhere in the mountains outside Fukuoka, that habit would lead them somewhere neither of them were meant to go. They were driving back late from visiting Haruto's parents. The expressway was jammed with construction traffic, blinking hazard lights stretching endlessly ahead. Reina was half asleep in the passenger seat when the calm digital voice broke the silence. Faster route available. Without hesitation, Haruto tapped the screen. "Relax," he said with a small grin. "We'll save 20 minutes. Reina didn't argue. She would later wish she had. At first, the detour felt normal enough. The road narrowed, the streetlights disappeared, and the buildings gave way to dense forest. Their phone signals flickered, but didn't vanish completely. Not yet. But the deeper they drove, the more the silence began to feel wrong. Not peaceful, not rural, wrong. The trees along the roadside grew thick and uneven, their branches tangling overhead like skeletal fingers. Haruto turned on the radio, but only the low hiss of static filled the car. Reina checked her phone. No service. Haruto checked his. The same. The navigation map still showed a thin gray road ahead, but the label had disappeared. No route name. No nearby landmarks. Just a line leading deeper into the mountains. They saw it suddenly, around a sharp curve. An old tunnel mouth, black with age and moisture. No lights, no reflective markers, no signs of recent traffic. Haruto slowed. For a moment, just a moment, Reina thought he might turn around. Instead, he drove inside. The temperature dropped the instant they entered. Reina could see her breath. Haruto, she whispered, it just got really cold. And halfway through the tunnel, the dashboard lights flickered. Once, twice, then the radio exploded into static so loud Haruto swore and shut it off. But the sound didn't stop, because it wasn't coming from the radio anymore. It was softer now, wet, layered, like multiple voices whispering just below the sound of the tires on pavement. Reina grabbed his sleeve. Did you hear that? Haruto nodded, his jaw tight. Neither of them spoke again until they reached the other side. The road beyond the tunnel was worse. Cracked, narrow, barely maintained. Haruto slowed the car, and that's when the headlights caught the sign. It stood crooked at the roadside, half swallowed by vines. Rust had eaten through parts of the metal, but the Japanese text was still readable. Haruto read it aloud. Beyond this point, the Constitution of Japan does not apply. The words hung in the air between them. Reina forced a laugh. Okay, that's creepy. Probably just a joke, Haruto said. But he didn't speed up. The houses appeared slowly. First one, then another. Old wooden homes slumped with age, roof tiles missing, windows dark and hollow. But something about the scene made Reina's stomach twist. This wasn't normal abandonment. A bicycle leaning against one wall, laundry pole stood in the yard, a child's rubber ball rested in the middle of the road. It looked like everyone had just left at the exact same moment. Haruto's grip tightened on the wheel. Reina? I know, she whispered, and then the engine died. The car didn't sputter. It simply stopped. The headlights stayed on, but the dashboard went black. Haruto tried the ignition. Nothing. Again. Nothing. And when Reina saw the rearview mirror, Haruto, don't turn around. Too late. He already had. Someone was standing behind the car. A thin man in old work clothes, mud staining the cuffs of his pants, and his face was mostly shadow. But his mouth was smiling far too wide. Slowly he raised one hand. Not waving, beckoning. The door lock slammed down all at once. Neither of them had touched anything. Then the man spoke. And somehow, they heard him clearly through the glass. You came in without permission. Movement flickered between the houses. Small shapes, watching. One stepped into the headlights. A little boy, barefoot. His eyes reflected the light too briefly, too sharply. Haruto twisted the key again and again. Come on, come on! The engine roared back to life. Haruto didn't hesitate. He slammed the car into reverse and sped back the way they had come, tires skidding on loose gravel. In the mirror, the man never moved. He only watched, still smiling. The whispering filled the car again, louder now, pressing in from everywhere at once. Reina kept her eyes forward. She never looked at the back seat. The moment they entered the tunnel again, the headlights flickered violently. For half a second, the car went completely dark. In that instant, Reina heard something knock on her window. From the inside. And then the lights came back, and seconds later, they burst out of the tunnel. Phone signal returned immediately, full bars. The radio snapped back to cheerful late-night chatter. Haruto didn't slow down until they reached the expressway. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, Dana whispered, You saw them too, right? Haruto nodded. But he was staring at the dashboard. The digital clock blinked repeatedly. 3:33. They had entered the mountains just after midnight. The next morning, Haruto checked the dash cam. Most of the drive was normal. The tunnel, the sign, the empty village road. But the 3 minutes when the engine stalled, corrupted, just static, except for one clear frame at the very end. Reina only saw it once, and she wishes she hadn't. Because reflected faintly in the rear window, there are handprints on the inside of the glass. Small ones, like children pressing their palms against the back seat. They say Inunaki Village doesn't appear on any official map. Most people believe it's just an urban legend. But sometimes, late at night, when Haruto starts the car, the rear door locks. Still click down by themselves. Well, there you go, folks. I hope you liked that. The Inunaki Village tale, based on that famed creepypasta, which is kind of a more modern internet-born form of an urban legend. I did an episode on the Inunaki Village early on in Supernatural Japan, but it's quite a bit different. There was some narrative involved, but I also did talk a little more about the lore around it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Japan ghost story. And thank you so much, of course, as always, for being patrons and supporting Supernatural Japan and all the things that I do. Take care, and you are muchly appreciated. I hope you all enjoyed that very spooky tale, that legend of the Inunaki Village down in Kyushu. It's a freaky one. And there's a lot more content like that over on the Patreon. That is the Japan Ghost Stories podcast. And there's about a dozen episodes of that right now. There will be more episodes each and every month, plus the Spicy Wasabi podcast, plus lots of great video content. And of course, if you're a fan of Supernatural Japan, ad-free episodes of the main show and early access. You get to listen to it a day or two before everyone else does. So check that out over on patreon.com/justjapanpodcast97 or over on supernaturaljapan.com. There's links all over the place in the show notes too. So please come on over and support our Patreon. I would really appreciate it. Thank you folks for being so awesome. Take care.
Looking for a hauntingly unique podcast this spooky season? Listen to I Talk to Ghosts for chilling ghost stories, genuine in-studio medium readings, and a virtual seance table where the spirits have an opportunity to speak directly to you. Find I Talk to Ghosts on all the fine podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Happy haunting.